students at one local middle school. I'm John Doman.
Prince William County School Board set to debate a vaccine mandate for employees. I'm Mike Murillo.
Toilet paper and Clorox wipes are back on the shelves, but supply shortages and price increases linger. We go deeper at 10:10.
It's 10 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Students are back in class across the country, and professors at colleges in the South are protesting. CBS's Jim Krasula says they want more COVID protections.
Faculty members from at least 16 colleges in Georgia have started week-long demonstrations in hopes of pressuring administrators to order mask and vaccine mandates. Organizers say the protest is not a work stoppage since strikes are illegal in Georgia and they could be fired.
All staff has to be vaccinated in New York City, where almost 1 million students reported to classrooms this morning. Engineers at the University of Texas at Austin have come up with a portable COVID diagnostic that can test dozens of people at a time. Professor Ray Chen.
In the classroom, in the church gathering, in any public areas, I think this can be a very quick testing tool.
President Biden's just left Washington for his first official trip to the West Coast as president. Correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
The president will first tour wildfire damage in Idaho and Northern California. Then he'll campaign for Governor Gavin Newsom on the eve of the final balloting in the California recall election. The White House says in Boise and Sacramento, Mr. Biden will urge passage of the climate change plans embedded in his infrastructure proposals now before Congress. Over the weekend, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin repeated his opposition to spending $3.5 trillion, mainly on social programs, as the progressives in his party have demanded.
Tropical storm Nicholas is expected to make landfall along the Texas coast later today. CBS meteorologist David Parkinson.
The good news is even though the storm is slowing down and stalling, there is enough shear at the upper levels to actually push the heaviest rain east and keep it moving. That's going to stop us from having a 3 or 4 day rain event, but we'll still be getting a ton of rain in 24 hours.
British researchers are recruiting volunteers for the world's biggest trial of a test that could revolutionize cancer diagnoses.
Study leader Dr. Peter Sassini calls the so-called Galleri test a potential game changer.
In the past, we've had screening tests for one cancer at a time. This essentially is a blood test for any sort of cancer.
Earlier trials suggested the Galleri test, already available in the U.S., achieved early detection of the cancers that account for 2/3 of U.S. and U.K. cancer deaths. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
A teenager convicted of killing a 12-year-old in 2014 in the name of the fictional Slender Man is being released from a mental health facility in Milwaukee. WDJT-TV's Mark Stevens.
The judge agreed she did not pose a significant threat to herself or others at a hearing July 1st. As part of her release plan, she will wear a GPS monitor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
This is CBS News.
Indeed helps you hire great people fast. Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's 10:03. We welcome you to Monday, September 13th, 2021. We've got a sunny day right now, 81, mid-80s to near 90 today. Good morning to you. I'm Deborah Feinstein.
And I'm Mark Lois with the top local stories we're following this hour. Don't be surprised if you see police at a local middle school, where police say a student threatened to shoot classmates over the weekend.
The threats were made on social media, and police in Frederick say they've already notified parents whose children were specifically targeted. However, police there also say the Monocacy Middle School student didn't really have the means to carry out the threatened shooting. Police were notified about the online posting yesterday and say the student who made the threats will be facing charges. The Frederick News Post says the threats were made on the social media app TikTok. Police plan to increase their presence at Monocacy Middle, but say they don't believe there's any active threat. John Doman, WTOP News.
Prince William County Schools is one of the only school systems in Northern Virginia that has not required staff to get a COVID vaccine or get tested. But this week, that could change.
When the Prince William County School Board meets on Wednesday, one item on the agenda is a debate on whether the school system should have a vaccine mandate for employees. There also could potentially be a vote on a resolution which would require teachers and staff to get their shots by November the 1st. If an employee chooses not to and doesn't have an approved exemption, the rules would require that they get a COVID-19 test weekly and turn in their results. So far, the school system says 80% of its staff is vaccinated. Mike Murillo, WTOP News.
By the way, Montgomery County is the only school system in the region to require employees to be vaccinated without the option of weekly COVID testing.
Public university students in Maryland were among the first in the state this summer to come under a COVID vaccine mandate. Compliance is high as students return now to campus.
The order that all faculty, staff, and students be vaccinated for the fall term has resulted in a vaccination rate of more than 90%. MarylandMatters.org reports that at the University of Maryland College Park, fewer than 300 out of more than 39,000 students are unvaccinated, and many of the 300 are international students in the process of getting their shots. There are efforts to boost vaccination rates at Bowie State University and other historically black colleges and universities where vaccination rates are lagging. Dick Giuliano, WTOP News.
Some surgeries that require overnight stays will be delayed at a hospital in Annapolis.
Anne Arundel Medical Center will postpone some elective surgeries to free up beds starting today. The delay is due to the increase in COVID-19 patients that need longer-term care in hospital beds and the overall increase of patients in its emergency room, according to the Capital Gazette. Around 60 elective surgeries are performed at the hospital daily, and it expects that at most 10 procedures will be affected by the temporary pause. Surgeries in which patients can be discharged the same day will continue. The hospital says it doesn't want to cancel any one surgery, but believes it's the best approach for now, and it plans to evaluate the pause on a weekly basis. Acacia James, WTOP News.
We're learning that COVID hospitalizations across Maryland are now at their highest point since May. With more than 800 people admitted to hospitals, the number is still, though, well below the nearly 2,000 who were hospitalized with the virus back in January. Nearly 2,200 people in Virginia are in hospitals with COVID-19. That's the highest since February, but lower than the peak of 3,200 in early January. About 100 folks are hospitalized with the virus in the district. That's the highest number since May, but again, below a January peak of nearly 300. Compared to during the winter surge, deaths are now down nearly 90% across our region.
Coming up, buying a car, renovating your home, supply shortages linger, as do higher prices on some products. We're going to talk about the pandemic's lasting effects with CBS's Jill Schlesinger coming up next. 10:07.
All across Prince George's County, this is your time to change up. Because University of Maryland Capital Region Health is changing up how we care for you. With new technology, more top specialists, and more state-of-the-art facilities coming soon to this region. We're changing up everything because amazing healthcare can do more than make you feel better. It can bring our entire community together. See how we're changing up at umcapitalregion.org/changeup.